Hello everybody. Tonight I'm going to be informing you on something that I personally think is pretty interesting. I will be explaining the controversy behind widespread pesticide usage on crops. When most people hear the word pesticide, they picture a toxic and dangerous chemical that can cause serious harm to both people or animals or really anybody to ingest them. Now, this misconception only really applies if you are wildly irresponsible with the chemical. Most pesticides are actually way safer than people think, and they really are essential for mass production of food, specifically crops. Also, livestock sometimes. I'm not going to get into livestock today, though. The first point I'll be talking about is that pesticides play an important role in protecting our food supply. In fact, according to the UN, United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, most farmers lose more than 40% of their crops per year, just in general, either due to natural disasters or crops not coming in at the right time or situations like that. Now, that's without pesticides. So with pesticides, that number is actually lower, which is a good thing. Pesticides not only protect our food supply, but they also indirectly protect the environment because it means that farmers won't need to clear out as much farmland in order to have the same output for their crops, which is obviously a good thing. The EPA cares about that a lot. A lot of people's biggest concern about pesticides is their safety, which is a valid concern. There are a lot of misconceptions about the dangers of pesticides, but in fact, they are safer today than ever before. All pesticides, and importantly, all types of pesticides, must go through multiple years of testing before they are ever allowed to be used. Used by the consumer, not by the testers. The ones who are testing. Compared with how chemicals used to be regulated, these new pesticides are a ton safer and are used more effectively as well. Furthermore, relating to the previous statement, technology based around pesticides has improved. For example, the technology that allows pesticides to be distributed has also improved, such as spraying technology as well as monitoring technology, which allows researchers to more effectively determine which pesticides are affecting which crops in what way. This means that, all of that means that the way pesticides are applied to crops has gotten better, as well as the pesticide itself. So just overall, it's a lot safer than it was 30-ish years ago. So although modern-day concerns would definitely have applied, again, 30 years ago, they do not apply anymore. Another thing people rarely consider about pesticides is their positive impact on human health. Now, it is known that insects often carry diseases, such as ticks with their Lyme disease, and many others. If a disease-ridden pest were to infect a plant which would later be consumed by a human, that person could face health problems. I think you can see the connection there, which would be preventable if, of course, the insect had not infected the plant. Now, I think this is obvious, but that entire point only applies to the way these chemicals kill harmful insects and fungus. The pesticide, now this is important, the pesticide itself is not safe for consumption and should not be used for any other purpose than its intended one. Pesticides are beneficial for human health, but not not in the same way that medicines are. Drinking them is always unsafe, or eating them, depending on which kind you're using. Despite their modern safety, pesticides should still be used carefully. They are still chemicals after all, and there are regulations in place which ensure that only trained people apply pesticides to crops and other material, such as livestock. Pesticides are only becoming safer with each technological advance, but as with all things, you should take caution while using them. In conclusion, Pesticides are not as dangerous as many people think they are. They are designed with human health in mind and have no other motive. People's fears of these chemicals were well founded 30 to 40 years ago, but are no longer valid. Although this is a fairly niche topic, it is still important to spread awareness about the safety of modern day pesticides. I think a lot of people still remember learning about DDT in school and were taught that pesticides are bad as a result. For those who don't know, DDT was a pesticide that nearly drove the bald eagle to extinction because of its harmful effects. Overall, pesticides are a lot safer today than ever, and their importance cannot be understated. Thank you.